Where are we now in this story we're conjuring from history, myth, and imagination? Outside the palace walls, near the sacred woods, where the priestesses of Gaia have gathered. We approach. They turn to us as if they know we're here. Shoulder to shoulder, they step closer and speak.
With hearts that pound like warring drums, the queen and her tutor traipse the rugged hills to find the temple King Minos built in honor to great Poseidon.
Great Poseidon. Long overgrown is that abandoned place, the altar stones all green and thick with moss. Not since the death of gentle King Asterius has that hidden place seen sacrifice.
What does she seek to prove, our ravenous queen?
The consequences now of what she's done, mewling and suckling under our common sun.
That Minos is to blame for her obscene coupling? The gods know they're unspeakable, our blood's desires. If our dreams were made public, we'd all be shamed. The vilest act can set the noblest mind in flames. No one walks safely through the heart's rough terrain.
Over our best intentions, desire runs roughshod. In pursuit of base wishes, the best have been undone. Now the queen has fallen to her vile passion. She searches for pardon in the anger of a god.
Here comes Icarus, Daedalus' young son. The boy approaches the priestesses and opens his arms to them.
My greetings to you, holy women of Crete, aged mothers and youngest priests. Was it of Pasiphae that I heard you speak?
It was, Icarus. We were speaking of our queen.
My father searches for her throughout the palace, fearing the wrath of Minos, our injured king. He seeks protection in the testimony of the queen.
If it is protection he seeks, then he'd better look elsewhere.
Do you know something about which Daedalus is ignorant?
We may.
Tell me.
Pasiphae's nature, it seems, has suddenly changed. No longer is she the queen, beautiful and bored, who conspired to indulge a base, unnatural urge, fearless of all consequence. Now with the Minotaur snorting in her husband's arms, she is a woman suffering at the hands of a god. Madness delivered by Poseidon drove her to the act. This, it appears to us at least, is what she means to argue.
And how does this affect Daedalus?
He was Poseidon's instrument. He made the robe that made the act possible, and thus lives now at the center of her fury.
Ah, poor father. He seeks an ally and will find an enemy.
Icarus moves towards his father as he sees him approach. Daedalus calls out,
Icarus, any luck in finding Pasiphae?
No, father, none. Though, I have had word.
Word of Pasiphae?
These holy women gathered here seem to know the very nature of the queen in addition to her whereabouts. Speak with them, father, and you may not want her to be found.
Go continue looking.
As you wish. I'm gone.
Forgive me, Gaia's priestesses, if I interrupt your service. My son, Icarus, tells me you have word of Pasiphae.
Do you still seek Pasiphae? We told Icarus that, from what we know. Daedalus is despised by the queen.
Despised? By Pasiphae? I'm the queen's confidant. I bow to her commands. Despised why?
For being a man. In particular, for being the man who fashioned the suit that beguiled the white bull.
I did it because the queen commanded it be done.
She was befuddled by madness. You haven't heard? Poseidon drove her out of her mind.
Drove her out of her mind? That's not a god's trick. A god, when angered, does not drive one from his mind, but rather down more deeply into it. Women by their nature are unstable. Before a god could drive a woman mad, he'd need to find a sane one.
The eldest of the priestesses comes forward. Clearly she is their leader.
Daedalus, you forget to whom you speak.
You are Gaia's priests, a different order of woman.
We may be priests, but we are women still.
And thus by your natures different than men. In this I only state the obvious. Pasiphae is a fit example. In women, reason is a flimsy screen, toppled quickly by a gust of passion. In women, the heart rules.
Poor Daedalus. You blame your suffering on women.
I blame no one for my fate, yet now I find myself threatened by the frailty of a woman's thoughts.
There is some truth, Daedalus, in what you say. Women are given to flights of airy fantasy. For instance, consider what they expect of men. That they be bulwarks always of all kinds of strength. That they be constant and faithful to their chosen bride. That they be ruthless in battle, yet at home be kind. That they be honest, worthy, deserving of our trust, except in commerce, where they must do what they must. Madness. It's a fantasy, the things women expect of men, and men prove that to women time and again. As for the supposed frailty of a woman's mind, Daedalus, truly, these are the frailties of humankind. Many's the man's mind that has fallen to disorder, lived in a dream, danced elegantly outside reality's borders. There is no failing to which women are given. That is not also a failing given to men.
That's an interesting thesis. One you'd be hard-pressed to defend.
Daedalus, be still a time and look into your heart. There you'll find the place where all our troubles start. No sin is too heinous for we seekers of virtue, no evil too gross for we who love what's good, no desires too lurid for we seekers of decency, no crime too cruel for we who value justice. These are the inconstancies of our humankind. These are the tangles of our troubled minds.
Here comes Minos now, with the Minotaur in his arms. This should be interesting.
Great Athenian craftsman, tell me, do I look like a doting mother?
You look like the warrior, Minos, king of Crete, with a child in your arms.
A child? No, this is not a child. This is the monster my wife Pasiphae bore. All of Crete by now knows her story. Certainly the great Daedalus knows all. How she coupled with a bull and brought into this world the Minotaur. I have been to see the oracle. She spoke eloquently of you.
Minos, allow me to defend myself for the part I played in this disaster.
Are you willing to risk awakening the anger I have so carefully drugged with my manner?
If I must.
Then speak.
King, I had no choice but to do as commanded. I am a guest at Knossos, where Pasiphae is royalty. She bade me use my skills to the end that she decreed. I had neither right nor power to question her authority. I had no choice but to obey the orders of the queen.
You could have come to me.
Had Pasiphae denied it, as surely she must, you would have fed me to the dogs.
No, you, Daedalus, and lose the beauty of your work which adorns the palace everywhere? No, I would have done something less. Had you castrated, perhaps, or your vocal cords cut out so you could no longer lie. Maybe both.
You would have been too kind.
You would have suffered, Daedalus. It's true. But you would not have behaved unethically, a choice that comes far too easily for you. Athenian, at present you disgust me. You have disgusted me for some time. You are at heart a whore who ought to be despised. You throw away gifts given so generously by the gods. You make only what you're paid to make. Who knows what wonders you might create if you followed your own heart and will. Instead, you make a magic robe so a queen can mate with an animal. Daedalus, you lack integrity and thus live close by to evil. You don't know the next thing you'll make, craftsman, do you?
No, Minos, king of Crete, great majesty and sovereign power. I do not.
You will make a labyrinth.
A labyrinth?
A maze. A place of twisting corridors that feed into each other artfully so that it seems they are without end. An endless maze of connected paths with rooms where one might live a while before moving on to nowhere. A trick, a puzzle, a dazzlement with a monster at its heart, which of course will be the Minotaur. Daedalus, this the Oracle has decreed. The Minotaur must be imprisoned in a labyrinth. I decree that you shall build it. Think of it as exceedingly temperate punishment for helping to defile my queen.
Both temperate and just. Minos proves himself forgiving as well as generous. When should I begin?
Soon, I'd guess. I want it done before day's end.
A labyrinth where the creature might live, with rooms and endless corridors by day's end. How is that possible?
You're the magician, Daedalus. If you can make a robe that permits union between a woman and a bull, the labyrinth should be easy.
It can be done, but not in a few hours.
It will. The Oracle has foreseen it. Go. You need only draw the designs. Then call upon your goddess friend Athena. She'll do the heavy labor. And take this creature. Do as I command.
But what shall I do with the Minotaur?
Put him down on grass. He grazes. Go.
Daedalus leaves with the creature in his arms, and Minos turns to the priestesses.
Greetings, women young and old. From Minos, your king. Potnia, I know, is one of you priestesses of Gaia, you worshippers of the Great Mother. I envy you your freedom, the young among you most especially. Is it all true, the wild things we hear? How your secret dances bring on ecstasy? How you know of drugs and herbs that open you to godly visions? How you meet in glens in the full moon's light, there to spin and dance and sing and chant until you have completely left your senses? That you make love there with whom you will, even with each other? Can all these things be true? Or are they, as is surely much more likely, excesses of imagination within ordinary women and men, those bordered and confined by a sense of morality?
Great King of Crete, our secret rites are secret. We may not speak of them, not even to the king, so Gaia commands us.
Gaia commands.
But still, we are free to point out the obvious. All are drawn to mysteries. Everyone enjoys a fanciful tale. And what's not fully known is best suited to embellishment.
If I were to command you, speak in the name of the great god Zeus, would you tell me more?
Zeus descends from Gaia, as do all things, both men and gods, and thus he owes her reverence, as do we, her priestesses, who obey only her commands.
Then, old woman, leader of this lot, let me ask you this, and I beg you answer carefully. Pasiphae's behavior is beyond my comprehension. How could she? My revulsion is so deep it is unspeakable. I could not believe it had I not held the evidence in my arms. That she did this. That she must have. To me this is, as you say, a mystery, something I do not understand. My question is this. Her tutor, Potnia, is one of your disciples. She participates in your ceremonies which, as I understand, toss aside the constraints of reason, reach beyond the norms of lawful order, and in the ecstasies of the body seek a higher truth.
Forgive me, Minos, for correcting you, but neither our practices nor our pursuits are to words so easily reduced.
Precision is not my goal. I'm asking you this. How much of Pasiphae's behavior came under Potnia's influence? And just what is the exact nature of their relationship?
Though all priestesses of Gaia share the same beliefs, we are not of a single mind. I cannot speak for Potnia, but I can say this. We were with Minos equally shocked to learn of the Minotaur and to reason out the act that must have led to its creation. No punishment you devise will meet our disapproval, not for Pasiphae, nor Potnia, nor anyone responsible for the birth of such a monstrous creature, half human and half animal.
I have your blessing, then, in searching out a just response, one that satisfies my anger and takes into consideration the future welfare of my kingdom.
You have our blessing.
Now, listener, Pasiphae enters with Potnia at her side. In Minos' face, it looks as though a storm is rising. The priestesses hover close, all ears, as the king addresses Potnia, tutor of his disgraced bride.
Potnia, where is Pasiphae?
Have you in battle, Minos, suffered injury to your sight?
This is the woman who gave birth to the Minotaur. Where is Pasiphae? Where is my queen?
Pasiphae comes forward to address the king.
Where is Pasiphae? Pasiphae has gone from Crete. She has left me behind.
And who are you?
I am a subject of the queen's. No one King Minos has ever known.
I have never known you. You have never felt my touch. You have never touched me in return. Are you certain?
Yes, I am certain. If the king held me in his affections, he would know my affections. If the king held me in his heart, he would know my heart. And if the king knew my affections and my heart, he would not be blinded to my sight. Surely I am someone the king has never known.
You reason well. You must be a stranger to me, mother of the Minotaur. I think, though, you look at least a little familiar. Something in the eyes and skin and body's shape. Tell me, help me understand who you are.
I am a woman toyed with by a god. Poseidon, for reasons unknown to me, though perhaps not unknown to you, filled me with desire for an animal. I am a woman thus who suffered the violence of a bull. I am a woman clothed in humiliation. I am the woman, as all of Crete by now will know, who gave birth to the Minotaur.
And for this suffering and humiliation, who is it you hold responsible? Poseidon? You are then an innocent, toyed with by Poseidon.
Toyed with by Poseidon and abandoned by my husband and my king.
Abandoned? You're accusing me! Pasiphae, you bore a monster out of union with the white bull, Poseidon's gift that helped me to the throne of Crete. And for this unholy coupling, you blame the gods, and me, your husband and your king.
How else is the act to be explained?
In any one of many ways, though wantonness comes first to mind. Lawless lust, when allowed full sway, acts alike to an addicting drug. Small transgressions will at first succeed to fulfill the body's whispered needs. But once it knows the soul is listening, flesh will raise its voice. Without proper and constraining law, no act is beyond imagining, as you yourself have proved.
I will not waste Minos' time by denying what may not be denied. You have held the Minotaur in your arms. You understand the simple facts of procreation. Still, I will not be called a wanton, not by you from whom it is most maddening. If I had given my body to another man, or sold my favors to the highest bidder, I might be called so justly, but that is not what happened. Minos knows the truth. Poseidon struck me with insanity. I have suffered a great sin against the freedom of my will. How could anyone believe otherwise? Think what happened. It goes against all reason. What could I have seen in that horrid beast to fill my heart with shameful passion? Was it the sparkle in its eyes, the luster in its well-groomed hair, or did it dress in some delightful fashion? I swear, Minos, my lover was not handsome. What but madness could have tempted me to put on Daedalus's despised robe? Did I expect a bull to be the father of my children? What is it, Minos, could have turned my will to lay down in such a bed of mud and filth?
Perhaps I'm not the person to best answer these questions. Potnia might do better. Were any of these women gathered so quietly here, who some say have woven threads of wantonness into the fabric of religion?
We beg you, Minos, pay attention to Pasiphae's defense. We find ourselves swayed by her arguments. We may have judged her far too harshly. Many are the signs in her of a god's affliction.
Beyond this, Minos, we also wish gently to remind you, it was your father Asterius who built our temples, and thus we serve your kingdom.
Zeus is my father, Poseidon my benefactor, and you serve my kingdom at my will.
Would you be king, Minos, over Gaia too?
He would be ruler over all. Earth, air, fire, sea, all by Minos subjugated. Not even the gods would be free of his tyranny.
That's blasphemy.
It's truth. Your ambition is the single source of my humiliation and misfortune. That creature I bore, you named it well. Minos and the bull define its parentage. I was nothing but a vessel for its carrying. It's you, for bringing us the Minotaur, will bear the burden of man's blame.
I will bear the blame? What is this nonsense you're yowling?
You will bear the blame because you failed to slay that bull, the beast of the gods which Poseidon gave you that you might sacrifice it in its honor. Admit this, Minos. I saw the temple that you built. It still exists among the brush and the weed. You may have fooled your brothers, but you have not fooled me. You promised Poseidon to sacrifice the bull, then used his gift as evidence of your favor. Because there are no boundaries to your avarice, you kept the white bull for all to ogle over, that they might be full of wonder for the king. Poseidon denied the sacrifice you owed, took his vengeance out on me. On my head this disgrace has fallen because of your ambition and your greed.
I don't believe I've ever heard such caterwauling, and from Pasiphae, my beloved queen. Perhaps I should parade you on a leash across the length and breadth of Crete. Here comes Pasiphae, the queen who mated with a bull. See how she crawls on all fours now, with a collar around her neck. You could provide a needed moral lesson, how low the mighty fall when they give up discretion in pursuit of lust. No, I'm more inclined to keep things simple and only slit your throat. Perhaps I'll make a stew of you and feed you to these priestesses. Poseidon here in sea, I beg you help me find fit punishment for the sacrilege of my queen.
You cry aloud and call the gods to witness. You that wrought these deeds in my disgrace. I, Pasiphae, mother of the Minotaur, I declare myself innocent of all. I am the victim of an affliction imposed on me by an angry god. You, Minos, you are the guilty one. Like a madman, you proclaim your wife's disgrace. You would lead me on a leash past the houses of our neighbors while you walk alongside upright, while you point and jeer as if you played no part in my humiliation. It is you who have ruined me. Yours is the sin. You are the cause of my dishonor. If it is your will to slay me, Minos, then slay me. You are no novice in bloody deeds and murder. If you wish to feed my flesh to others in a stew, go ahead and cook it up. You have my permission. Let them feast until they are full. I am innocent. Whatever punishment you devise, it will be suffered for your crime.
Are you finished with your bellowing? Great Zeus, I thought you'd soon paw the ground and snort. I feared you might lower your head and charge. It seems not only have you borne the white bull's calf, you've taken on its very manner. What a situation I find myself in. A king married to a cow who thinks she's a bull.
We beg you consider, Minos, it may be true. She suffers the curse of a god.
It may be a god's curse she bears, but by this mortal hand I'll make her suffer more. And Potnia too, her quiet accomplice, whose insolence reeks from her every pore, and in whose priestly heart the seeds of these crimes would have found fine nurturing. The two of them, neither should look any longer on the circle of the sun. For them, only dungeon or grave is a fit home.
Minos, stay your hand. The matter deserves more thought. We counsel you not to be ruthless.
Your counsel is in question here. But for now, I'll hold back judgment. Take them both away. Take them from my sight. Leave me a while here, with Sea for wife, whose faithful singing soothes me.
Minos signals to his guards, who enter and take Pasiphae and Potnia away. The priestesses exit to the woods, leaving Minos alone as he gazes out over the sea to the horizon.
Great god Poseidon, is this your work? Will you never grant me peace? I have littered the seas with bodies, pirates, blasphemers, enemies of Crete, their women, their families. I have cleared the whole of this land of thieves and murderers, of lawless scum. That my people might live safely, I have silenced 1,000 voices. Again and again I spoke to myself, saying, Minos, you are doing the work of the gods, while blood soaked my hands and arms, while I knelt in gore, or saw myself reflected in the eyes of others with utter terror, as if a monster loomed in sight. I have done these deeds in the service of necessity, and still they weigh upon me. The familiar incantations, justice, honor, law, good, order, they do nothing to stay the dreams of blood and filth that torment me like warriors, my own opposing army, fortified safely behind the battlements of my skull. I have suffered, Poseidon. I have faced torments to serve the gods, for love of Crete. I have willingly taken up the burdens of a king. To shape a world fit for just and peaceful living, Pasiphae was my reward. Her beauty, unparalleled. Her touch, a wondrous remedy for every ill. Inside the circle of her arms, I found calm. In her embrace, the night might flow on forever, and morning yet arrive too soon. In battle, I clung to her. In chaos, I held her tighter. Amidst filth, I kept her image clean. And now, Poseidon, from battle's nightmare, I return to this waking horror. My pampered queen embraced a passion for a beast, and bore her distant king a monster and disgrace. Now, all of Crete, from slave to priest, will look for justice from their king. How all this might end without endless grief, that's beyond this king's, this man's imagining.